Hi guys, Jake Willis here, founder of Master Wildlife Filmmaking. This week I have a question that came in from Rowan in Phoenix, Arizona. And Rowan asks, how do I find unique stories to tell? Now that's a great question because in the wildlife filmmaking industry, there's many different stories and many different kind of ways of telling a story. It might be just looking at a specific species and telling the story of that animal. It might be telling the story of a biologist who works with wildlife or a specific species. It really is a case of finding unique stories and telling them in your way, in your style. Now, what I would recommend, and many of the ways that I've tried, have been to get in contact with universities. In your hometown, go to the universities, look at who they have there, biologists, professors, what they're working on, and see if you can go out with them and film their studies, what they're doing, their research. This can be super interesting. It can lead to a great working relationship in the future. I've worked with many universities and have managed to go back time and time again and film different people's research based on the connections I've made. Another way would be to go to, say, the Department of Wildlife, see what they're doing, see if they have any great stories, or if you can follow a biologist and see what they do in the field. A lot of the time, people's stories are super interesting to tell. People's stories where they're working with wildlife. It might be a dog catcher. Now, granted, dogs, pets are not wildlife, but they're still dealing with animals. So maybe following a dog catcher and seeing what it's like in the day of a life of a dog catcher. A biologist, what they're doing. They might be studying turtles or tortoises in the desert. They may be studying snakes or insects or birds. It could be anything. And that's what makes it so unbelievably interesting. I love the fact that one day I can be out following a biologist in the field. The next day I might be in a lab with a biologist working on their lab results, or I might actually just be in the wild on my own with my camera trying to film the behavior of a specific animal. So there are many ways you can locate those stories. Another way is just to Google what's happening locally with wildlife. You'll pick up stories online, news stories that have been put out by professors at the universities, and that way you can then contact them about their specific research and see what you might be able to do for them. It's always a good thing to, when you approach someone, if you're trying to build up a portfolio and film just to build a story out so you can gain experience, then offer it to that person. If it's a professor and it's their research, then approach it from the point of view that you want to film their research, and when you're finished, if they want to have the film to put on their website, to utilize in presentations when they give talks or lectures, let them do so. That will really encourage them to want to spend the time with you and the effort, because it is effort. And even if you're just shadowing someone, it does take more effort for the biologist to have someone with them, especially when you want to get in and do the nitty-gritty stuff and film what they're actually doing. It may be a seasonal migration. Here in Nevada, we have migrations of tarantulas, desert tarantulas that leave their nests and head out and try and find mates. We have large red crickets that en masse cover roads and hillsides. So it's a case of just kind of finding out when those things happen and going out and finding the story behind them. Or even approaching non-profit wildlife organizations and again offering to give them the finished product for their website. This can really interest some of these people who don't have the capital, the budgets to go out and make films themselves. But having a film that you can utilize for yourself is in your profile or as your portfolio, but also offer it to the people that you're filming to utilize as well. So there really are many ways in which you can find a story locally. And I encourage you to go out and get in contact with some of those people and organizations I've mentioned and try and do that, because it can be of great benefit to both parties. Now, if you've got value from this video, or if you know of other ways to find stories that I've not touched upon, please comment below, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the Master Wildlife Filmmaking Podcast, please do so. It's on iTunes, on Stitcher, it's on masterwildlifefilmmaking.com. Fantastic interviews and great advice. Until next time, grab your gear, get outside, and make it happen.